Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Banana Sav 0118 and it says, my husband, 25 male, and I, 23 female, are having a baby. Is me asking for more than a week too much? Please help. Hey everyone, I 23 female and 15 weeks along. My husband and I have started talking about all of the appointments and schedules going on until the end of the year. Baby due in November. We found out I would not be getting paid maternity leave, but he'd be getting paid paternity leave for up to 4 weeks. I've already started saving up for when I will be out of work for 3 weeks after the baby. I work from home, and I didn't really think it'd be a problem for him to help me out for 3 weeks while I healed, and then let me readjust for a week while I tried to transition back to work. His response was that he'd be happy to take a week off, but if he needed to, he could take 2. His reason was that 2 weeks was $2,000, that he would already be missing out on and didn't feel comfortable losing any more. A few key details before I get into the juicy part. We've been together for 5 years, just got married May 4th. Yes, we had issues before the baby, and no, the baby was not planned. I have pre-existing health issues on top of being diagnosed with hyperemesis gravidarum that have sent me to the ER 4 times already. He does new construction plumbing, so he's paid per project, but if he were to be working at the shop on a rainy day / low inventory, then he makes $15 an hour, which he would be getting paid during leave. We already have 3 ginormous dogs that I take care of 80% of the time on top of all the vet visits and grooming. I feel that these are important tidbits so that you can better understand where I'm coming from. All I could do in response was sit there and cry. It hit me that I would honestly be doing this alone. I already come to terms that once he went back to work, I wouldn't get much help from him since he does work a job that is manual labor, and he's already exhausted without having a baby around. I told him that at this point, I'd rather him just take the day off for the birth and I'd handle the rest. I explained that a week was hardly anything, and if I was expected to be okay with just that, then I'd rather take nothing. I've already been looking around in care.com and Rover to find someone to help with the baby and the dogs. I don't have anyone else but him, since both our parents work and we don't have any other family near us. I now feel selfish because he got upset by what I said, and he said, the baby isn't even here yet, and I already feel like a deadbeat. I can't find anything online that says if a week is enough or not, and now I feel horrible because I can't get past the emotional part of this situation. Someone tell me I'm wrong or something because I don't really know what to think anymore. Edit. A few things I feel like I need to point out since some of you are a bit on the cranky side. Yes, we use protection, hence surprise baby. I live in Florida. Maternity leave is not mandatory for employers. I could have done FMLA, but because I don't use my employer's insurance, it's not offered to me, nor have I paid into it to use it. My main reason for this post was to get a viewpoint of all sides on this matter. It's our first child, and we already discussed having children later on in life. I never planned to get pregnant. I promised the baby and I are being monitored by my OB and my cardiologist. Basil Love says, setting aside your husband, if you have congenital heart disease, you need to be talking to your cardiologist about the risks of pregnancy. You may end up needing way more than 2 weeks off before and after the birth. Unfortunately, those of us with lifelong health issues don't always have bodies that play ball with our financial necessities, such as permitted maternity and sick leave. So I think you need a safety net just in case, but your husband should be contributing to this fund too. Desert Fairy says, I'm going to tag into this one. Depending on your condition, OP, you might be heading to the OR before the baby is ready to be born. Labor is hell on your heart, but pregnancy is no joke either. I speak from experience that open heart surgery takes 3 months off of work to recover from. I did it last year and I wasn't recovering from a pregnancy or trying to care for a newborn. And if you have to have that surgery, you won't be able to take care of the baby at all. You wouldn't be able to pick them up for 6 weeks minimum. When the sternum is cracked, it can't be immobilized to fuse together. You have to heal the bone while it's in motion every single day. If you lift more than 5 pounds per arm, it is agony, and if you do it anyway, your sternum could heal wrong. I'm not trying to scare you, OP, but you need to have the contingencies in place. You may need a full-time caregiver for 6 to 12 weeks, and you won't be up to 100% for over 6 months. When I read that you have a congenital condition going into this, my heart dropped. Make sure you're under the care of your cardiologist every step of the way. Lutus says, if he's getting paid paternal leave, why the hell would him being at work matter? Wouldn't he be getting the same amount of money? Also, this situation is so fucked and I'm so sorry. Having to go back to work, even work from home 3 weeks after giving birth just sounds so cruel. Has your husband done any research on birth and newborns? He seems to think this is all going to be much easier than it's going to be. OP says technically his pay is based on per project, which is per house. They range from $800 to $1,600. In 2 weeks' time, he can technically have up to 5 done, which is more than his hourly pay. Although based off his comment, he'd technically be missing out on $800 if he were to take off those 2 weeks. It's honestly not my preferred plan, but with the economy, I couldn't afford any longer. I've explained to him what a birth and C-section entail, along with the responsibilities of having a newborn. I bought him books, sent him videos, but there's not much more I can do to make it black and white for him. Plutus replies to that saying, okay, what about just telling him that you need him there? How is that alone not getting him to drop everything? There's been a lot of studies on paternal leave, and I'm pretty sure if you do a quick search, you can find lots of research showing that it's much more beneficial for the dad, child, and mum for dad to take more than 2 weeks off when the baby is born. You still have some time. Can you maybe save the $800 before the baby comes? OP responded saying, I told him I would need more than a week and he threw 2 at me. Lol. Truthfully, I wish we were both in the position to take off at least 6 weeks because my pregnancy is already high risk with my heart condition. This will probably be our only one and I don't want either of us to miss out on anything. It's so frustrating because he didn't grow up with a father, so he always says that he turned out just fine. I've already got close to $1,000 in savings for the baby, but we keep everything separate. I plan on having a lot more by the time the baby comes, just in case we need a cushion for whatever reason. So it was 1 year after those comments that OP came in with an update and says, some of you got butthurt about the word vajaja. I didn't say it in the original post because I thought I was going to pronounce it wrong, and it makes me laugh out loud. Nonetheless, I hope you have a lifetime of cold pillows. I got a lot of questions and comments about having an abortion, and truthfully, it's not for me. I have nothing against abortions. I'd already grown an attachment to my baby. I showed my husband the post in comments. It was all truly eye-opening for both of us. We had some really hard conversations and some of the most groundbreaking talks. We both ended up in therapy and in couples therapy. We still have a long way to go, but I feel like I'm living in a dream now. My job ended up paying for 6 weeks of maternity leave. My husband took 2 weeks off and his job gave him a baby bonus on top of the end of the year bonus. They were absolutely incredible during the journey. My pregnancy was absolutely horrible. My morning sickness sent me to the hospital 7 times. I had 2 IVs weekly, anemia and PUPS in the middle of summer. I ended up on bed rest in October and I had her in November. She had a few complications that we faced and we ended up at a high-risk doctor, but the stars aligned and all of her issues were resolved by the time she was born. I labored for 36 hours and ended up having a C-section due to her heart rate dropping. Out of everything, that was the moment I was terrified. My C-section was absolutely traumatizing. I remember there were doctors everywhere asking me questions and asking me if I was feeling anything. Every few minutes after they had given me numbing through my epidural, I kept getting my feeling back. It was horrible feeling them cuts and pulling and the burning pain. I swear as soon as they pulled her out and she started screaming, it was the most peaceful I'd ever felt. The first 2 weeks with her was everything I'd hoped and dreamed. My husband was incredible and took care of everything. I'd never felt so loved in my entire life. He helped me do everything and was amazing at night watch. We are now officially 7 months in and I swear life couldn't be better. I still work from home and she's with me while I work. She's incredibly smart and we have a great routine together. She has 4 teeth. She's standing on her own and crawling. We're so close to saying mama. I never knew I could love someone as much as I do her, and I'm grateful that she's mine. I think regardless, I'd still have made the same decision to keep her. I know it would have been harder and a lot scarier. I've hated my life for as long as I can remember for one reason or another, but now I feel like I have an actual purpose, and she came at the most perfect time. I realize that not all stories are the same, and I hope that I don't seem insensitive, but I figured an update is an update, good or bad. If you ended up reading this, which I doubt anyone will, thank you for your time. It means the world to me. The commenter say, glad that it worked out and you have a beautiful baby and supportive husband. I gasped when I read that you had pup, P-U-P-P-P, on top of everything else. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. The itchiness was maddening for me. I had to be induced because I wasn't sleeping at all near the end. Opie says thank you so much, and oh my gosh, yes, I had no idea that was even a freaking thing until I woke up itching one morning and it didn't stop until I gave birth. I keep saying this, but someone should really write a book about things that people actually don't tell you when you get pregnant. Not to scare anyone, but I guess just as a formality. I read all the baby and pregnancy books and not one did they warn you about any of the oddities of pregnancy. I could only imagine how miserable you had to be for them to induce you. We made it though, mama. Mongoli says, happy to hear everything worked out. Wow, what a roller coaster that must have been. I'm 30, and this makes me not want to have kids. But regardless, did any of the advice help you out? I think very low of the advice given at this sub because it's filled with single people, and people just hate couples and every solution is to break up. Opie replies saying, oh yes, I'm never having another one. But she was absolutely all worth it. I'll be honest, I didn't have a lot to live for and was absolutely hating my life. She saved me, and I'm a better person because of her. But it wasn't fun, and the only part I really miss are the kicks. Truthfully, a lot of it was pretty hurtful. I get it though, from an outside standpoint it didn't look great, and I absolutely did not give my husband the credit he deserved. There were a few that I saved specifically that were neutral and were really good advice in regards to speaking to my husband about my concerns. And a lot of super nice people messaged me instead of commenting. It was my first time posting on Reddit, and I'll not make the same mistake twice. Lol. No C says good on you. I'm so proud of you both for being open and willing to adjust. And Opie says thank you so much. It was absolutely the best decision we could have made. Wow. Opie absolutely went through it during birth. I hadn't heard of PUP, P-U-P-P. I was googling it and it looks like a really heavy rash, and dealing with that on top of everything else as well, it's just like, oh my word. I'm so glad that they were able to work through the issues that they originally had through therapy, talking to each other. A huge congratulations on the birth as well, and I'm so glad to hear life is in a much better place now. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Wiggle Jiggles, who says, my 21 female boyfriend 20 told me he would break up with me if I got breast augmentation surgery. So I have what is known as tuberous breasts, where during puberty the breast tissue doesn't develop like it should. The breasts develop droopy, and the areolas are large and not proportional for the size of my breasts. A plastic surgeon has confirmed this is what it is and told me that if I wanted to correct it, surgery is the only option. The surgery would include releasing the constricted tissue, and then an implant will be placed above the muscle. I'm extremely insecure of my breasts, always have been, because I know they don't look normal. I just want to be confident with my body and feel sexy when I take my shirt off. I mentioned this procedure to my boyfriend, and he immediately shot it down. He says he doesn't want a girl with fake boobs. He won't even listen to me when I tell him how gross my breasts make me feel. I 100% plan on going through with the surgery. I told my doctor up front that I did not want large breasts, just full breasts, and he told me that was absolutely achievable. Boyfriend still does not agree. My appointment is in April, the day before mine and my boyfriend's anniversary, and 3 days after my 22nd birthday. Please tell me if I'm doing the right thing. Is there any way to explain to him how this makes me feel? Any advice is appreciated. Gav comments and says, say this, I love you and respect you. I want to thank you for your honest opinion. However, I need to do this for my own mental health as I want to be comfortable in my own skin. While I would hope that you'd be willing to wait to see the results of the surgery rather than prejudging what is happening, I understand if you won't. This is happening as it is something I need. And then says stop referring to it as breast augmentation around him and only refer to it as breast reconstruction. Maybe that will sink in. Good luck. Opie says, I really like this approach, thank you. I usually just shut down because he's not very open-minded, and it frustrates me that he doesn't listen. Maybe this will help me make some progress. Opie also responds to a downvoted commenter and says, I'm not blaming him at all for having an opinion. I'm upset because someone I care about deeply won't hear me out when I tell him that I want to do something that will help me gain confidence. He has many tattoos, full sleeves, chest, and some of his neck, and I've been supportive of all of them. Definitely not the same though. Someone says info. Why does he not want to be with a girl with fake boobs? What is the actual reason for that conditional thinking? Opie says, all he said was, they're gross and you can always tell they're fake. Not true though. Opie responds when someone asks why she won't dump him, and Opie says 98% of the comments here have told me to dump him. While I appreciate the support, lol, I'm not going to dump him over this. My boyfriend means a lot to me, and I plan to fully understand his reason behind not wanting me to have this procedure done before I make any further decisions. 9 months after that, OP comes in with her update and says, hi. About a year ago, I was having trouble making the decision of correcting a breast deformity called tuberous breasts because my boyfriend told me he didn't want me to get it done. A lot of comments were so sweet and encouraging, and I want to thank you all for the kind words. Then shared the link to the original post and says, so update, I had surgery today and I still have a boyfriend. The same boyfriend. Onin comes straight in and says, details woman, we need details. Is he still the same boyfriend, lol? How did you convince him? How did the surgery go? Are the results what you wanted them to be? Opie laughs and says, you're right, I'm sorry. Same boyfriend. Basically I said, I understand that you're not happy with my decision, and I have to respect that. The same way I really want you to respect my decision. This is something I feel strongly about and I know will improve my self-esteem. He was still a little doubtful and wasn't too excited, but he said he wouldn't be upset because he understands why I want to do it. He's a bit happier now that it's over and he knows I'm safe and happy. Surgery was amazing. I would do it 10 more times if I had to. They gave me a shot to relax my nerves and from then on, I don't remember too much. I know I was happy because the meds made me feel great. Results are better than I could have ever imagined. It will take about a year for my breasts to take full shape, so my boobs will continue to look better and better for a whole year. I'm so happy. Sky says, sorry to intrude. I also have tuberous breasts and have considered fixing them for years, but I honestly don't know if I should. Generally, how much did it cost you to do so? Opie says after it was all said and done, I paid $6,900. Another commenter says, how come you're still with him? Did you talk it through or just never came up on conversation again? Opie says we talked about it a few more times. I kept telling him it's a reconstruction, not necessarily an augmentation. It's a literal deformity that I have. I explained the entire deformity to him and how it affects me, and after that, he was more understanding. And there was some people saying that, she should have dumped him still. Some people on the other side of the fence as well, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me, so thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and much love.